Hey folks, it's Bishopheals. How you guys doing over there today, baby? Forget about it. Let me tell you, I know it's been a while, but boy, do I have a treat for you. Oh yeah, because you know what I got here? You know what I got? I got the GG, baby. Email from Golden Greek. Yes, it is the freaking Amadeus. Forget about it. Okay, so here we are. This is Golden Greek Emio. Forget about it. The greatest innovations for the greatest vapors. You know what? I would. That's something. Gotta give it to him. So we actually get a manual, which really don't need to go into because I pretty much understand this, but for the novice that needs to understand the parts and stuff, you get pretty much a listing on the diagram as far as on the designs and stuff, and then you go by a number order, and it's in different languages, same thing. So let me put that on the side. We don't need that. But here are the goodies. Oh yes, the dang goodies. Forget about it. So he gives you the tools, okay, which is pretty cool. Get O-rings. Oh, you can never get enough O-rings, that's for sure. Email has a fascination against O-rings, I gotta tell you. But okay, here's the device. Okay, isn't this gorgeous? Isn't this stinking freaking beautiful? I tell you, forget about it. I mean, it's just amazing. So we have two slits here with the holes for dual coils. You can tell already off the bat. Matter of fact, let me get these out. Wow, pretty amazing, I gotta say. The craftsmanship, it's awesome. And it's a clear indicator, like if you turn it upside down, you can tell if it has two holes or if it's a single hole, like this other one I'm about to pull. See, this one's single. So when you turn it upside down, you only see the single. Okay, so, and then you have ones that will block the airway as well. These are sealed, completely sealed, nothing. So there are different configurations depending on the application of the coil that you're actually going to be using. That's why he made this so versatile. And in addition to that, it's because you can also put this in a tank. Yeah, he also has a configuration for the tank. So this one is just one that's going to be actually sealed, and the other one's completely actually open. Yeah. And then this would be if you want to add your 510 drip tip right on top. You can do that and use this slit instead of using the one that's that comes. And then you have the side casing. Now this one right here, from what I'm looking at, okay, that's one hole. Turn it around, and that's parallel to the first hole. So this casing to me is for actual dual coils. Yeah, you can use this for dual coils. Forget about it. Now the one that's actually mounted on the device, let's take a look at here. Wow, this just looks so beautiful. But that's the one slit. See, that's only one slit. So this one, the outer ring is for a single coil configuration. Okay, but it's just so immense and beautiful. I mean, seriously, look at that, I tell you. Wow. Emio. Wow. Okay, so here's airflow on the bottom. And as we just saw in the slits, you also have airflow on top. So this is pretty ingenious because I'm assuming you turn the top and, yep, see that? So you have air control. That's how you control your air control. So you can turn this half, quarter that you like. And then with the special housings that I was showing you with the one hole, the two hole, you would be narrowing out the air control from the bottom here altogether, and that's two wide slits. See that? Yeah. So let's open this bad boy up. So turn this out, and as you can see, this is the cap. Also has a splash screen. Wonderful. Let's take a look at that splash screen. So what I would recommend, being that you have an O-ring over here, because if you're going to try to turn this, you may actually end up stretching this O-ring. So you can use his tool that came with it, or anything really to stick between this slit and that slit, just to hold it in place. So I'm going to be using one of his tools. I will put it in like that. Okay. Turn it. Okay. And then just hold on to here as you actually do the turn. See that? Now I can move the tool, and now I can turn. So now we can see the splash screen. Oh, there goes the splash screen. So this is like a, yeah, it's pretty sturdy. So this is something pretty interesting, because I haven't seen much of these as far as, actually I'd never seen something like this as far as on a dripper before. So that's pretty cool. So as you drip, you can actually drip straight in if you wanted to, and if you over drip, you don't have to worry about it because it'll hold the splash, right? Isn't that ingenious? So I'm going to put this back in. Okay, now to tighten it, I'm going to use his tool again, just like that, and I'm going to hold the tool as I tighten. There we go. So now that's tightened. Now, you know, that way I don't stretch out this bottom O-ring. That's all. That's just a tip that I'm just giving. I mean, you do what you want to do, but as you can see, this housing is really, really nice for a splash screen. Oofa, forget about it. Okay, so let's get back to the mod. So now what I'm going to do is, I think it's easier just putting it on the mod. And there we go. So now I can unscrew this. Now let's look at this deck. Now this deck looks like similar to a velocity deck, doesn't it? Yep. Pretty interesting, that's for sure. And you got 3 O-rings, as you can see. You got 3 O-rings. And this long slit of an airflow for the bottom. So these are the configurations, having them completely wide open. Okay, that's air coming from the bottom. Okay, but looking at this right now, we're going to disassemble the bottom deck. I'm going to turn that just like so, and this is beautiful because you see we're turning this bottom deck, and we can turn it upside down. And imagine if you actually have a coil on here. If you have a coil on here, you can do the same thing without disturbing the coil, without even removing the coil. Okay, you just turn it upside down and change your discs, whatever it is that you want to use. The other thing I'm noticing is that these poles, okay, look at these poles. You see how close they are together? Okay, they're pretty close together. Now there's a reason, okay, because it's adjustable. Yeah, get that, it's adjustable, dude. I'm telling you. Now, then I was saying to myself, well, if it's adjustable, how would he prevent the shortage? Well, there it is. I don't know if you can see that, but there, matter of fact, you're going to see it right now when I pop it. Let me show you. There we go. Let me do that. So, look at that plastic. You see that plastic right there? And then there's another one right there. So, as you extend the poles, okay, as you extend these out, those plastics from each side will actually touch the ring. Okay, it's going to actually touch the ring, and it's actually going to prevent the short, okay, from happening. Okay, so how do we actually stretch these out? Well, quite simply, we loosen the bottom nut over here. Yeah, we just got to loosen this nut. That's it. Now, it may be, oh, I was lucky, it's a little loose. See that? I can actually loosen it out. But the way I would actually adjust this is, let me first just to give it a little snug, That's all temporarily, okay? I'm not going to leave it like this, but I'm going to show you something. You're going to have to use the deck because I think it's going to be so much easier. And there's only one way of putting this in, and there are many ways of setting it up that will be bad. Okay, now to set this up on this deck, okay, so we can adjust a little bit better as far as on the poles, I'm going to slot it in. Now, don't just slot it in and put the bottom cap and that's it. You have to actually align it. You have to align the deck. So as you can see here, you see how that air hole is covered and you see how it's turning. Okay, so what you want to do is when you put this in like that, like so, you want to hold it on like the poles over here with one finger, and then on the other finger you want to not push it in, you want to pull it out. Like you want to pull it out and do a clockwise of a turn. Okay, so as I'm doing clockwise, I'm going to hear it click and I'm going to feel it. Oh, there it is. See, I can't turn it anymore. It's locked. It's like right on the right slot. And what it is he put in a little groove in here, a little notch. Let me see if I can show you. Right there, you see that notch right there? Okay, so as you're turning the deck around, you want to get it to fall into that notch, and you'll feel it when it gets onto the notch. It's not going to turn anymore. Okay, so you're going to be fine. And there's no other notches from the other side. See, I can actually keep turning. Oh, there's the notch. See that? There's the notch. So let me put this back in. So one hand I'm holding the poles, and then I'm just turning it clockwise. I keep turning until it snaps in. Like I hit that. There it is. See? It's locked. Alright, so now that's there, what we're going to do is we're going to hold it, and as you can see, I'm going to extend it. Now look, see that? Big difference, right? That versus that. You see that? Now, why would you want to do that, you may ask? Well, Emil pretty much thought of it all, because imagine if you're using something like this. I'm going to show you something like this. If you're using a coil, like a pre-made coil, let's say a Clapton coil, okay, this is only 5 wraps, okay? We got 5 wraps in here. Now, you see how the wires extend out, okay? They extend this way out. They're not all the way narrow like that. They're actually narrow. They're wider because the size. It could be 2.5 millimeters. It could be 3 millimeters as far as the diameter. So when you're actually mounting these coils, okay, on these decks, so I'm going to hold it from the bottom for a little bit because this is just temporary. I'm not going to screw this in, but I just wanted to show you that the poles themselves, you see how clean it looks? It doesn't look like these coils are being squeezed together because of the poles being too close to one another. Alright, just to give you an idea, if I were to squeeze those poles together, you see how the coil is changing? It's like it's going to be like overlapping one another. You see that? So when I would tighten the coil, what would happen is these would be like sandwiching up too close together. Okay, so that's why you would want to have a space, depending on the application of the coil that you're actually using, enough so that it prevents any hot spots altogether. So I just wanted to bring that as a note. So I'm going to remove the coil, and I'm going to realign the deck again. So what I want to do is just tighten just a little bit, and there we go. I got the locking. Okay, next thing you want to do, because being that this was adjusted, okay, being that the base was adjusted, you're gonna have to use this, okay, because you have to realign the pin. The center pin, there are holes. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna remove it, but now this right here, right there, see that? As I turn this, you see that? There he is. There he is. You see the hole? Yeah. See what happens when you try to turn it to lock it? See that? It turns. Okay. So we have to find the hole. There we go. And we're going to be inserting this tool like that. Okay. But we're not going to do it from here. Okay. Well, yeah, you can actually do it from here if you wanted to, but and just tighten. Now you can tighten this nut right here while this tool is in place, so that way you actually keep, there we go, that way you actually keep that in place. Alright, now the thing is, you want to tighten this tool after you took the measurement here and give it a little snug, because once you remove this from the base, you can actually extend this too far out and then it won't fit on the base. Okay, so I'm going to just test it. Alright, I'm going to test it and see. Yep. And looking at it from the bottom view over here, you see that? There's no way it's going to touch. Two, that's 12. So it's going to be like 12 wraps, because it's 2 coils together in a parallel configuration. So yeah, so it's going to be about like that. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to start tightening it. Then I'm going to actually use a tool okay, and I'm just going to tighten it lightly. That's it, just lightly. That's it. You don't have to go really, really hard. It's just enough. Okay, and then here, okay, I want to make sure this is centered. Okay, so all I'm doing, I was just turning just to make sure. Yeah, it looks good. All right, now comes for the test. Now, when you actually do this and make the adjustment and you tighten this and you made sure that the hole is showing, okay, right in there, okay, from the pin, okay, and when you mount this part, you want to make sure when you're mounting it and you're fastening it that the 510 pin doesn't look crooked. Alright, so you see that? It's even. Alright, the 510 pin doesn't look like it's overlapping in any way. You want to make sure it's flush. Okay? It's even. Now, another thing I want to add is E-CIGS added by default. I gotta see what this one is. Well, I guess I can just do it like this too. But there is in the baggie, he actually brought in another pin, and one of them is hollow. There's a hollow pin that's open, and the other one's closed. See, this one, I can see here, this one's closed, the other side is open, but this is where the tool goes in. See, over here, it's actually closed. So the one in here, I'm assuming, is open. So I'm going to go and check that out right now. So in order to remove, you just put in his tool and turn it, and yep, see that? Alright, that's hole number 1, and here's hole number 2. See that? So I'm going to remove this, okay, and I'm going to use the other one, which is a solid one, okay. So I'm going to put that in its place, turn it, then I'll use the tool that he gave. Give it a turn. All right, and it's good to go. So now I can put the base back. And the base is back. Excellent. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the decks before I actually install one. So practically what I'm looking at here, this would be a great deck to play with for dripping. This one right here, this one dual coils, this one is a single coil. Okay, as you can see, the hole is a little bit larger versus the other one for the dual coils. This one's closing one cavity, which is these two. Okay, then this one closes one and leaves completely wide open the other one. Now this is the one I'm actually going to be going with. Okay, I will be going with this bad boy right here, because then I will be playing with a tank configuration, and that's the same one I'm going to be using for the tank. So to do that, I would have to again screw the bottom, unscrew the bottom deck. And as long as when you're unscrewing this, you don't have to worry about if this goes offline, like you see, like if it does that, because again, like I said, you would pull that out like that and you keep turning it until, there we go, see, it's locked. So when I get the slit, now it doesn't matter which way you put this, okay, if you're going to put it in here or you're going to put it over here, it doesn't really matter, just put it in. And when you do that, before you screw the bottom deck, you want to just do a final check just to make sure, okay, there we go, okay, it's locked. I just want to make sure it's set there in the right setting before I actually start mounting this. And when I start mounting the bottom cap, I want to make sure that I'm actually pulling the two poles. There we go. So now I will be screwing this in where the sun don't shine, forget about it. There we go. So see, it's even. Yep. So now, as you can see on the deck, you see that? So I left one open and one completely closed. Okay. So this is where I'm going to be mounting the coil. Okay. Quite simply, that's where I'm going to be mounting the coil. So let me get some wire and let me get going. So hopefully you guys are doing awesome over there. I know I can't wait to vape on this bad boy. So what I'm actually doing right now, I'm going to be setting up for parallels. So I'm going to cut it right about here. And I'm just using 26 gauge Cantle is what I'm using for this application. So, no, not a Pisces. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to line up the two wires together. Like so. Turn it. Then I'm going to cut it evenly. Then, instead of using a drill bit, you could use a drill bit if you wish, but I find it's just so much easier. I use these tools, and this is like exactly 2.5 millimeters, so that's exactly what I want to make. And what I do is I slide it in, and when I slide it in, okay, as you can see from here, I'm just pressing it down slightly, and then very gently and easily I'm just gonna guide the two coils down like that. See that? I'll take my roller and I start rolling it. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, and then that's 6. And then I turn it. And voila, there she is. So I pull that out, yank it out, and as you can see, there's my coil. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the device now. There we go. That's simple. Then you would use the tool that he gave you. If you have a micro flat screwdriver, you can use that too. And one thing I'm noticing is that when I'm screwing these screws in, they feel top quality screws. Not the one that's gonna strip. There we go. So now this one is done. Then what I do is I turn this the other way around. Turn my mod. And what I like to do is mount this already on a deck, on a mod, so I can pull this a little bit out. But being that I don't have a deck next to me, that's okay. I will use pliers, and I will just give the wires a good yank, raise it up vertically 90 degrees, like so, and then I'm using my thumb to hold it. And then I'm just gonna look over here just to make sure I got my coils a little bit above the opening. There we go. So now I will screw in there we go. Now I'm going to readjust it to make sure. Yeah. Everything looks nice right there. Oofa, look at that. Beautiful. So now I'll cut these wires. Look at that, nice. So now we're gonna give it a dry burn. You know me, I gotta do dry burns. Make sure there's no hot spots. Then we'll check how many ohms. I have a good feeling it's gonna be like in a 0.3 area. Yeah. So we're at 0.37. I don't know if you can make that out. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. And that's because when I mounted the coil, I wanted the coil to be like pretty much on top of the opening. So now, and as you can see, she lights up evenly. I didn't even have to adjust it. Look at that. Not even one hot spot. Unbelievable. Usually I do a dry burn just to see if there's a hot spot. I tap it, I move it. But as you can see, because I have the these two parts completely like expanded out, there was no hot spots. Fucking ingenious, I tell you. Look at that. Not even one hot spot. Freaking A. Nice. And I'm just shooting it up at 35 watts. That's all. For 3.37 ohms, which isn't bad. So, alright, so now it's time to wick it. Woohoo! Time to wick it. It's time to wick it. Flushing into the coil, and I don't want that. So, might as well let me just nick that in the bud right now. So, I'm just going to put in some cotton. So, all I'm going to do, you don't need a lot of cotton, just a little bit. And I'm going to stick it just like so. Take a scissor and very gently, you see that? I'm just making sure that it just shows. Okay, that's about it. Okay, just enough, not forcefully, just fluffy. Then what I'll do is I'll just cut. I'll make a mark. So all I need as far as cotton would be here, because I just made a mark on the cotton. So now I know that's how much cotton I really need for that area. That's it. Alright, so the same thing before, because I already measured it. See? See that? Yeah. so it's not like coming out. It's perfect. And now I'll do the same on this side. Okay, so it's not going to need a lot of cotton, less than this, because from what I measured before. And I'm going to put that in there. I'll use the scissor, and there we go. Now, that's it. I'm just testing. Yeah, that looks good for me, Frank. Forget about it. Yeah, perfect. Now, juice time. That's right, juice. I am addicted, heavily. Well, I shouldn't say addicted. I am enjoying caramel cake. It's just unbelievable. It's just like a dessert. And the good thing about it is my blood sugar levels doesn't go up, so which is a good thing. So now I'm going to start pre-soaking my wick. Yeah, soak this bad boy up. And also I'm going to soak up the other side as well. Okay. Just like that. Okay. To me that looks good. But it's fresh wick, so it needs all the juice it can get muster. There we go. Alright, so now that's done. Now, the deck. Being I'm using a single coil configuration, but this is 0.37 ohms, I'm just going to use the one with the one slit, okay? That's what I'm going to use. And you want to make sure you put the slit right in front of the coil, okay? Not the other side. Not this end, but this end, okay? Now, because the reason why is because they both, these slits, you see that? It has these two grooves right there. See that? As an opening. So, and the same thing as far as on the base over here. So when you turn this around, see, I already know my coil is facing this way. So, as I'm turning this, I'm just turning this now. You don't want to push all the way down, because if you push all the way down, I'm going to show you. You see what's happening here? You see that O-ring? See that? So you don't want to do that. So if you want to make it a little easier, you can lubricate a little bit. I put some of the juice on the O-ring like that. That's it. And then what I do is I turn this around like so. See that? See what I'm doing? So that way it lubricates the O-rings a little bit. Okay, there we go. And I don't see no O-ring being pinched. Okay, so now I have to look at the deck again. There's my coil, so this is where the slit needs to be. So I turn it, turn it, turn it. Ooh, here comes the slit. Here comes the slit. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. There it is. Now the other thing is, right here there's a notch, and that's where it needs to fall under. So there we go. So now she's lined up. See that? She can't turn anymore. She's lined up. So that's the other tip I would do as far as for the O-ring. Or you can remove that top O-ring and just use the bottom two O-rings is fine. I think email said that was also okay. But if you don't want the O-ring to snap, you can just do that. Now I am looking for a tighter O-ring, and maybe that will prevent it from pinching as well. So I'm going to be experimenting with different sizes just to see, because you know, I like the idea of having 3 O-rings on here, and I want to make sure that, you know, it's very, very nice and sturdy and tight. But the thing is, when this thing heats up, depending how low you vape, or how I should say how low ohms you vape versus the amount of voltage you're kicking, you know, this atomizer can get a little bit hot, and that will heat up the O-rings to the point that it's just going to wear out. You know, so that will happen, and I think Emi already knew that of me, so that's why he sent me O-rings. But you know, I gotta try this. Let's try this, guys. So I'm gonna put the cap on, and as I put the cap on, I'm just turning it, and I want to make sure, see on this slit, that there we go, it's open. So now let's vape. So we got the Amadeus ready, and it's time to vape. Let's see how this bitch vapes. Forget about it. The cotton's very, very moist right now. Oh yeah, forget about it. Oof. Oofa, I tell you. You know what that smell reminds me of? Cinnamon titties. Oh yeah. That juice was spectacular. I wish Rob would actually make those juices again. I wonder if he still has it. I'm going to call out. I'm going to do a shout out to Rob from Full Vapor. Make me some cinnamon titties, baby. Forget about it. So with that, guys, Emil, thank you so much. This thing is off the wall. Forget about it. It's just an unbelievable device, that's for sure. And I'm going to have to do the tank build. Matter of fact, let's do the tank build right now. Oh yeah, hold on. Psych! No, not right now, but I do have it. Yep, I will be using the tank build on the next video. I just thought this video was a little bit long as it is, so I didn't want to extend it anymore because of the tank. But on the next one, I would actually throw this with the with another toy. Oh, yes! I'll leave that in the next video. But with that, Emil, thank you so much. I'm messing around with this dripper as it is, and I will be playing it with the tank on the Civilian V3 a little bit later. I am just waiting for the batteries to arrive. But once they arrive, I will be hitting like that. I'll be hitting it like there's no freaking tomorrow. Forget about it. So with that, I'll let you guys go. Live hard and vape hard. Oofa! Forget about it.